presented by Exquisite Timepieces. More about them in the description down below and later in the video. This SBGM245 Grand Seiko GMT is one of two models in a new range of dual-time sports watches that also includes the green-dialed SBGM247. And, like its green-dial counterpart, this blue-dial version offers up a high-quality, high-value Grand Seiko alternative to other GMT sports watches on the market. In fact, if you're looking for more affordable and, of course, more readily available alternatives to the Rolex Explorer 2 that also have some different dial color options, this might be the perfect choice, because it does share a lot of similarities with the Explorer, but with all of the great Grand Seiko vibes. As far as specifications go, this watch is 40.5 millimeters in diameter with a 48.5 millimeter lug-to-lug length. It is 20 millimeters in width between the lugs, and it has a case thickness of 14.5 millimeters. And yeah, that is a bit thick. It feels substantial both in the hand, and it feels substantial on the wrist. It's not your best bet for an under-the-cuff dress watch, that's for sure. However, this is, after all, a sports watch. The watch is equipped with a screw-down signed Grand Seiko crown, and it offers up 200 meters of water resistance. We have a dual-curved anti-reflective sapphire crystal, a stainless steel case construction with excellent Grand Seiko quality Zaratsu polishing, and the watch rides on a three-piece link bracelet featuring solid T-shaped end links terminating into a threefold clasp with push-button release and multiple points of micro adjustment. Last but not least, the watch runs the 9S66 automatic movement, which is a Grand Seiko in-house caliber with 35 joules running at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It offers up a 72-hour power reserve, has an accuracy range of -3 to +5 seconds per day, and of course, a date complication and GMT dual time function. Now, like many GMT watches, this example has a quick set hour hand. After setting the red GMT hand to your desired time zone, you can quickly adjust the hour hand without stopping the movement. In this case, the GMT hand points to 10 o'clock on the outer timing bezel, while the hour hand is moved from 1 hour to the next. The outer timing bezel is a stainless steel bezel with hour numerals engraved and filled with black for each even hour from 2 to 24, and of course small graduations for each odd hour. However, an internal chapter ring outboard of the dial offers a reverse layout with the odd hour numerals and graduation pips for every even number interval. You might also notice that the inner chapter ring is also color coordinated with a darker blue on the evening hour side and a lighter gray for the daytime hour side. The dial markers, applied logo, and the handset is as meticulously finished as one would expect from a Grand Seiko watch. And I have to say that it's nice to see that the finishing on the hands and the markers aren't a typical high mirrored shine finish, which, don't get me wrong, looks awesome on the dressier Grand Seiko watches. But for a sports watch like this, a little bit of texture on the tops of the markers, that looks really nice. I'm also happy to see that this watch has a clasp more in line with a sports watch than the typical Seiko clasps that you find on something like, the Snowflake, for example. The presence of micro adjust in particular gives this watch a much better level of versatility when it comes to fit, although it's not toolless adjustment, which is kind of a shame. And while something is better than nothing, I am going to keep complaining about this until all brands offer up some form of toolless micro adjustment, because I found that this is one of the best features in a watch when it comes to both daily convenience and, of course, sizing. The watch caseback is a simple, solid caseback with the Grand Seiko Rampant Lion logo engraved into stainless steel. So no display caseback here, which in my opinion is just fine. It's not like every watch needs an exhibition window. On this watch, the screw-down crown is at the 4 o'clock position, which is not exactly a new concept for Seiko in general, but it's not as common on Grand Seiko watches as it is on the more affordable Little Brother brand. That said, I am always a fan of this aesthetic, and of course the added protection of having the crown tucked away a little bit, but it does compromise usability just a little bit. It's not like it's a huge problem, but it is a little bit harder to unscrew than, say, a traditional 3 o'clock position crown. Speaking of 4 o'clock, the date window, which is nicely framed on the dial, it falls in at the 4 o'clock position, which is in line with the crown. And while I don't mind it, I'd probably prefer it at the traditional 3 o'clock position were I given the choice. The handset and the dial markers do offer low light legibility thanks to the great Seiko LumaBright glow-in-the-dark luminescence. And this is where I would normally show you the lume, but my camera didn't record it correctly for some reason, so I'm sorry for that. But rest assured, it is the same great LumaBright that we've come to expect from Seiko, and if you've ever seen it once, you've probably seen it enough, and you don't need to see it again right now anyway. Now, on the wrist, this watch wears pretty well, if not a bit hefty because of that previously mentioned thickness. My wrist is 6.5 inches, and I'd say that it wears like any watch at roughly 40 millimeters in size, which is to say that it wears comfortably, but it's approaching my threshold for being too large. It's not quite there, but any bigger, and I might have a problem with the size. For those of you with wrists my size or larger, you should find this to be a good, if not great fit. But for the more slender wrist, I'd suggest trying this one on in person before buying one online, sight unseen, just to see how you like the fit. I think the last thing that I have to mention here is probably the price, and the MSRP is $5,700. Now that's right in line with what I'd expect for a stainless steel Grand Seiko on a bracelet, and of course it's several $1,000s less than similar GMT dual-time watches from a brand like Rolex. So in that regard, the value on this one is actually quite good. Now, given the overall value for money, the quality of construction and the fit and finish, and of course the features and specifications, I think this is a great new offering from Grand Seiko. There are a few things that I've mentioned that I would have liked to have seen done just a bit differently, but nothing at all that I would consider to be a deal breaker. Overall, I'm quite happy with the watch. So yeah, there it is, the new Grand Seiko SBGM245 GMT dual time. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. This video is presented in partnership with Exquisite Timepieces, located in Naples, Florida. Exquisite is an authorized dealer of dozens of watch brands, including Seiko and Grand Seiko, Omega, Oris, Blancpain, Breguet, and many more. Exquisite also has an amazing selection of pre-owned watches with new inventory coming in daily. So if you're looking for your next watch, check their website, exquisitettimepieces.com, or call their store at 239-227-2932, and let them know that you heard about them from Guy in the Just Bluefish channel. I can't recommend them enough.